right, and welcome to the Economic Report. A couple of technical difficulties on this end, but this is kind of what happens when you are, well, dare I say, running a moment behind. But thank you for joining me here for the Economic Report. It's Brian, and of course, what we do on this channel is we bring Wall Street economics and DC politics on down to mainstream, and that's really what we're on about here. And of course, we really like these live sessions. Although the attendance here is rather sporadic, there's some days where I've got 50 people, and there's some days where I just have a few. So if you are joining me and joining me late because you've joined this in a posted episode, then welcome here. And I'm going to go ahead and start working on changing the format, and I will make sure that I'm doing this on a regular basis, and I may even start mixing up the formatting a little bit differently and go ahead and do my lives and post them as my long form videos the next day. And it just seems like a logical way to handle business. And of course, by doing that, we could really have a lot of fun with this channel as well. And this is really fun for me. Believe it or not, I enjoy going ahead and reaching out to people. Sorry, there's a bug around here. I do really appreciate reaching out to people, and of course, maybe just kind of releasing a little bit from the day, because every single day can be a little bit stressful. And of course, here we are in 2025. We are hit with information overload on a regular basis, and maybe you're one of those people who can go ahead and understand what information overload really looks like. Of course, it could be your notification feed, it could be the radio, it could be TV if you're still watching TV, and of course, it could really be just kind of how do you deal with all these different things hitting you? And I'm hoping that every single one of us have some way, shape, or form a healthcare routine or a self-care routine, you would call it, getting out and taking care of yourself and clearing your mind, because whether it's at the gym, whether it's outside for a walk, whether it's a putt on the golf course, hey, maybe it's just taking your dog for a walk, you really do need to unplug, because information overload seems like everything. And I do mean everything is constantly hitting you and crushing you with information. So here at the Economic Report, we take these types of things into consideration as well. And part of what we try to do here is just kind of make sense of it all a little bit, right? But I would be remiss if I didn't ask every single viewer who watches this channel, make sure you take care of yourself, because at the end of the day, you matter a ton. And all the other stuff that goes on of day-to-day operations, well, if it affects your mental health a little bit, is it could easily do, get out and enjoy you, and enjoy a beautiful sunny day, and enjoy your neighbors, and look them in the eye and say hi, because people relationships, they matter a ton. And I think sometimes this news cycle, and maybe I'm responding a little bit to the Charlie Kirk stuff, I've seen horrific things from all different parties, people that would be followers of Charlie Kirk, and of course, people who are anti-Charlie Kirk, boy, just saying like terrible things and hurtful things, I think. Matthew, it's good to see you, partner. Welcome to the Economic Report. You are awesome. And, we're just talking about the information that's out there, information overload that is out there. And of course, without a doubt, there's a lot of stuff out there about political in nature, about what's going on here. Wow, the gang's all here. Thank you for joining me. You are awesome. And Josh, great to have you here as well. We're just talking about the things that matter a ton, and oftentimes it's maybe the mental health space that surrounds information overload, and maybe you can relate. David, good to have you here too as well. Holy cow, the gang is all here. Josh, great to have you. Make sure you are liked and subscribed, folks, for no other reason than I can go ahead and continue to share my long-form content with you. And I'm having a great day, Dave. Thanks for asking me. That's awesome. And I just want to know that I do appreciate the audience here, and maybe just taking a few minutes here to hit the decompress button. Maybe you can relate. Thank you, Matthew. You are awesome. Clint, welcome here. You are awesome as well. Thank you for joining me here. Make sure you're liked and subscribed. I'd love to have you guys in my channel on a regular basis, because I've got to tell you that you need maybe sometimes. IK, good to have you here as well. Thank you for joining me. And I've got to tell you that information overload is hitting us quite a bit, and boy, there's such an absolute cruelty I've seen out here on TK. Good to have you here. IK, glad to have you here. The bottom line is there is people saying mean things, and maybe people say mean things because they're behind a screen, they're behind a keyboard, and maybe a degree unaccountability. But I've got to tell you that what the world needs is a little bit more kindness and a little bit more clarity here about what it is. And maybe I can share a story with you. This could be the right day to share a story with you. And so I met a fellow who was in the Holocaust. He used to, I used to have him come in and speak to my group on a regular basis. His name was Jacob, and Jacob spent, gosh, I would say like 2.5, 3 years in Auschwitz. Terrible, terrible place, right? And maybe the story was that Jacob found a way to survive inside a really, really like horrible situation, right? I mean, it's a concentration camp. Can things get much worse than that? He said goodbye to his sister when he got in there. And all right, Matthew, I'll catch you later, pal. But I've got to tell you that he said goodbye to his sister when he got there to the concentration camp. Like, never, ever saw her again. But he found a way to survive inside the camp. And, I asked Jacob, like, Jacob, please tell me, what would you learn from this experience? Like, you learn from this experience of being in the camp. And he said, if there's one lesson, the one thing, he said, I learned that it's easier to hate people than to love people. And I'm like, that's crazy, Jacob. And he's like, well, hear me out. He said, people say things, they say mean things, and they say hurtful things to people. And the fact is, it's super easy to hate anybody. Whether it's your opinion, whether it's what they look like, whether it's somebody's skin color, whether it's somebody's religion. And so I just kind of sat there and let that one marinate. And hopefully this is marinating with the audience here today as well, because this is a very, very like real thing, right? It's something we see every single day, and I think we're seeing more and more of it when it comes to social media, because once again, it's very, very much of a drive-by world that we live in right now. But they say mean and hurtful things to everybody, and they don't care about anybody else's thoughts or attitude or even their feelings, right? But I got to tell you, the other part of what Jacob said, once again, Holocaust survivor said, it's easy to hate, and it's really, really super difficult to love, right? And with that, maybe there's a bigger story there, right? Because love requires an effort. Andrea, good to have you here. Thank you for joining me. You are awesome. But Jacob said it's difficult to love people because it requires effort. It requires energy. It requires a desire to maybe understand people as well. And if you understand that, then you kind of have a snapshot of what our world's looking like right here, right now. And if you understand that, boy, you make no Carmine, you are on the money there. Thank you, Murray. I appreciate that. But the bottom line is, this is a very, very like real thing, and maybe it's part of why people are so awful to each other right now. Hey, Andrea, thank you. You made my day by subscribing. I appreciate that. And without a doubt, empathy is rare, and it's almost non-existent, I think. And that's part of the problem, I think, because once again, being cruel requires no effort, no energy whatsoever. And what Jacob, the Holocaust survivor, was telling me was, you got to put in effort to people. The good book says, what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to like love our neighbor. And with that, you ask yourself the question, well, who's my neighbor? And I'd say, hey, look around you. Your neighbor is practically everybody you walk into. And you don't have to necessarily like what they stand for. You don't necessarily have to like how they position themselves or like how they're carrying themselves. But boy, what does kindness look like? And if you're supposed to like love your neighbor, then it's something that's I think we can all relate to, maybe just a little bit better. And with that, I wanted to make sure that I touched base here with you at the economic report today, talking about things that matter and really matter a ton. And well, Carmine, you are absolutely on the money, and Matthew, you guys are on the money too. I can't begin to tell you how great it was to have you here, uh, because you helped to make today's economic report really meaningful. And hey, this whole channel is about Wall Street economics and DC politics hitting people on Main Street. But I think if today's like conversation we're having really affects the way you think, the way you act, and the way you treat others, then man, what an awesome episode we had here. And with that, I want to thank you for joining me. You guys made this thing happen today. And I want to thank you for being a part of the economic report. And thank you for subscribing because, well, we try to make meaningful connections about things that matter to people just like us on Main Street. So with that, I'm going to remind you folks, hey, I end every episode this way. It says, the biggest battle we fight every single day, it's the one between our ears, our thoughts, our actions, our attitude. 67 lover, yes, we're really, really empathetic to the loss of any human being. I want to make sure that you understand that we know there's a lot of people that are hurting out there because of that episode. And of course, we want to be empathetic to our fellow human beings, whomever they are, and put forth that little bit of extra effort that makes a big difference here. And so I could say that, hey, the biggest battle you fight's the one between your ears, your actions, your attitude, and without a doubt, the way you carry yourself. So carry on, be the best you can today. And folks, if you get a chance, smile, say hi to somebody, make their day. It's just a little bit of effort that has a super powerful compound effect on everybody else they meet. You are awesome. Thank you for joining me. And I really look forward to having you guys on the channel tomorrow. Don't forget to be awesome. Have a great day.